Jeff Bezos has balls in downtown Seattle?
They do. They're massive.
Yes. Yeah. They're bigger than anyone else's.
Yes. Nobody else in downtown
Of course
Seattle.
they are that.
I love how interested you look. You're like, tell me more.
Welcome to Turn the Page. My name is Paige, and I'm here with Laura Lynn Page, well-known author and owner of Flutter Bookstore in Austin, Texas, and Penny Reid. And we're very excited that you guys could come into the studio today to talk about the book. So talk to me about tonight's event and then like what's gonna be and the book. And it's obviously it's a re-release or it's a special edition release. Tell me about this release for it.
Sure. So it's going to be a whole 2 authors enter, 1 author leaves. No, I'm just kidding. No, there won't be cage fighting, sadly, not this time. Maybe for book 3. So this is the second book in the Winston Brothers series. It's about Jethro and Sienna. The first book was called Truth or Beard. The second book is called Grin and Beard It. They all revolve around beard puns because I'm 13 years old. The event tonight is going to be, I'm super excited. Yeah. When you said you were going to open a bookstore, it was like, yes, if another person on the planet should open a bookstore, it should be Laura Lynn Page.
It's true because like, even if you see, there's so many romance bookstores obviously popping up, but she has so many events because she is like, made a name for herself in the community and people want to come and support her. She has more signings with more well-known authors than anyone I know. Because I know so many people, but I really don't.
The author retreats we have. I just get to have them all the time, but I don't have to travel. I can just like bring you all in and I can ask you guys things that I wanted to know and check in on everybody.
It's not
really
just coming for the signing. They're all your friend. Yeah. And they're all like your camaraderie that you've built in the space. And I feel like that's why everyone is so eager, yourself included, to come. I know you're going on these other tours too, but I think she is the most special in so many ways. Well, I'm biased. I love Laura and I know her and she's in our town. And so of course I'm totally biased, but I also recognize like everybody is happy to come and keep seeing her. Even she's had authors repeat visits in the short time she's been open. Yeah. And so it's very telling about you, Laura, because everyone loves you in this community, myself included.
Let's give Laura a round of applause. Yay, Laura. Laura's the best.
You guys, I don't take praise well.
I have some tissue somewhere behind books if you need some tissue.
I'll just fuddle with the spice.
I know. We like the chili pepper. Speaking of chili peppers, let's talk about Sienna and Jethro. Like,
oh, sure. Yeah,
slow and spicy. Give me a spice rating on them.
I'm bad at those. None of my books are consistently rated in terms of spice because I write whatever those spicy scenes are based on what the story dictates. Yeah. And so sometimes, and pun intended.
Dictates.
So for Sienna and Jethro, he is a reformed, he was very bad guy. And he has reformed and spends most of his evenings knitting at home with his mom.
I like that he knits. I mean, that's kind of like a great skill.
Yes.
Like,
does your husband knit?
Does my husband knit? No, he doesn't knit.
Does your husband have a beard?
Yes, he does.
Okay. I kind of assumed. I didn't want to make too many assumptions, but with the whole beard massive series happening.
He didn't have one when I started writing the series. And then we started dropping hints. The whole family was like,
you're a fan.
You might look good with a beard. And then No Shave November came up. And he agreed he would grow one for that. And then we just hid all of his shaving implements. Then December came and he's like, where are my, and I wasn't the only one who had hid them. My daughters had hid them too. He looks so great with a beard though.
We don't let my husband shave his face either because he looks like he's 9.
Back to the spiciness.
Back to the spiciness.
Each book has like a different spice rating if it were to be spice rated.
Yes. But I would say most of my books are slower burn.
I like a slow burn. I like to anticipate it.
Yeah, I do too.
If you jump right in, I'm like, okay, we already did that. But sometimes I'm like, let's get angsty. Let's get to it. And then when you like kind of like think it's going to happen and then it doesn't happen. And I'm like, next chapter. When's it happening?
It leaves you with like a blue bean and you're like, no.
It does. A blue bean. That is fantastic.
That's even better.
Do you like to blue bean the audience?
I didn't say that. You're putting words in my mouth. I don't
mind being blue beans.
Well, in this particular case, because he's reformed, he's determined not to have sex before marriage now. And she's lost at the beginning of the book, and he comes across her. He's a park ranger, and she is America's sweetheart actress. She's lost in Backroads, Tennessee, doesn't have reception on her phone, decided she was going to drive herself in a very silly way. And he has no idea who she is because he spends his time knitting at home with his mom.
As most reformed men do.
Yes, because this is how he keeps himself on the straight and narrow, and he's very, keeps himself.
And he's a mama's boy a little bit.
No, not at all. No. He just feels very guilty for his past behavior. And so in a previous book, in a romantic comedy, she passed away. And so she was in hospice.
That's always
it was
funny.
hilarious. And so there you go. That was Beauty and the Mustang.
Yes.
Anyway, so she has since passed away. And so he no longer knits with his mom. He now just sits at home and knits by himself. He's constantly trying to make up for his bad decisions of the past. So he stumbles across her, has no idea who she is. He's maybe like he's like the only person on the planet who doesn't know who she is. And she realizes when he starts calling her Sarah, that he doesn't know who she is.
And that's like an attractive quality probably for her because she's a super celebrity.
Right. And it's this idea that he doesn't have any preconceived notions of who she is at the beginning of the book, which to her is magical.
Refreshing.
And then for his side, the fact that she doesn't have any preconceived notions of him as the town up. Okay, so
You can say fuck. We say fuck in here.
Oh, thank fucking God.
Yeah, we drop them all.
She's carefully trying to, as the
Thank fuck. Right.
You don't have to censor in here. This is a no censor zone.
Okay, good.
We might have to in post, but not right now.
Okay, good to know. Good to know. He loves the fact that she doesn't have any preconceived notions of him as the town boy. So this is their story. This idea that we look at others through a filter of our previous experiences with them without giving them an opportunity to change and to grow and to become better for themselves and then also for others. When it comes time, again, back to the spice, when it comes time for things to happen, they're already basically in love. And he's like, I'm sorry, I can't have sex before marriage. And so she's
Pissed. I would be pissed. I'd be like, no.
too late. Take your clothes off, right? And then eventually, of course, he succumbs to temptation, obviously.
She's a hot, sexy celebrity.
She is very much so a hot, sexy celebrity. But I love that tension of, we can't go all the way. We can't go all the way. And so they find creative ways to be sexy.
I mean, I'm going to use that blue bean forever. I'm like, the blue bean moments in books will keep you turning a page. I'm like, don't
100%. It's either take a cold shower or keep turning the
reading.
page. Right.
Turning the page.
one-handed reads.
One-handed reads,
Well,
yes.
that's when it gets into really good spice.
Yes, which then leads us to Laurel and Page's books.
Yes.
Which is
Filthy, filthy, filthy.
No, when I
No,
read your
the
book,
picture
I'm
wasn't
like,
that filthy,
I know, but
actually.
when I read, there's something about even like, I was like, this is surprisingly sexy with how few sex words you use. Because when you're a writer, you can't read a book without tearing it apart.
Oh,
You know, like you're even if you're enjoying the story, you're like, oh, I know how they did this, or I know how you just notice things that you wouldn't
you're
notice. in a normal
analyzing
thing.
the things.
You're analyzing. You just can't help it. You can see all the strings. You can see all the thread work of it because you know how books are written.
Right, so you've seen behind the curtain. It's like the whole...
The Oz. It's seeing the wizard, right?
You've already peeked behind the curtain, so you know how the sauce is made.
Yeah, but you used surprisingly few to me. I was like, these are very few sex words, but still a lot of sex.
Wait, stop.
Sexiness.
Few sex words such as I love
I know, and that's what you'll find a million of in a Laurel and Page book, but equally
You'll
sexy.
find a million cunts. You'll find
We
a
like
million.
So many.
I like to sing a
So many. Some of my guys don't say. Some of them are.
I mean, you see a lot of cores too.
There's
only so
4
many words.
That's what I mean, but she gets around it.
You know what I have found, and now
So
you're
what
gonna,
do you use?
I just don't use it.
She doesn't use it.
You
There's
just
no
allude to it?
No, there's no need to say it.
No.
Because
You know what's gonna be there.
You know what's going on. So you don't need, I have found that, so when I go through and I write the sex scene, I'm usually drunk.
As
Yes.
one could be.
As one could be, just because I get so much in my head. I'm an overthinker, in case you haven't picked up on that. And so I try to get drunk, and then I will write the sex scene, and then it'll just flow, and whatever's in there is in there, right? Anyway, so, oh man.
If it's not in there, I guess it didn't work out that well.
It should be in there.
But sometimes it doesn't fit. That's
Sometimes
what
it
she
doesn't
said.
If it doesn't
Okay.
fit, somebody's having a great
This
day.
is so much fun. Let's just see how long we can keep. Let's keep the sexual innuendos going.
right,
Okay. As I go back through the scene, I when I'm sober,
Sometimes you insert extra.
Insert extra.
interestingly enough, sometimes I remove for more pleasure.
Oh, yes. No, that's very true.
Yeah, sometimes you remove in order to keep it almost salacious. there's a certain amount of salaciousness to
anticipation too, right?
Yes. I take what I call the film noir approach to sex scenes a lot of time. They're not closed door, but it's more like film noir. Using shadows and sounds and other senses to depict what you know is going on page.
I feel like it's like almost a poetic version of how this all happens.
The funny thing is that this is the scene, like I will have very graphic scenes. And then there's the finally, I 100% love you. That's what it says in my outline.
Oh, yeah.
The 100% love you sex scene. And then it turns into a Penny Reid sex scene.
Oh.
Which is, there is no talk about the parts. It's more,
it's
a more mental thing.
Yeah.
It's a more emotional thing. It's a more out here. And it is very, very sexy, but I actually think those are the best sex scenes of the whole book.
I know that you use a lot of movie lines. I speak fluent movie lines.
She does.
And there's a great line in City Slickers, I love a Billy Crystal movie, where he's like, the difference between men and women, I firmly believe this. Women need a reason to have sex. Men just need a place. And it's like, I'm not wrong.
That's funny.
And I'm like, and that's why we like to read the emotional part of it, right? I'm like, because we do need the reason. People are like, oh, you're reading porn. I'm like, no, the spice is the bonus. The story is what we're reading for, right? That's how I feel. I'm like, yes, I want them to have sex. I want it to be open door. But I'm just like, it's the emotional part of it that I feel like I get off on the most.
Yeah,
right?
And even if a book is in erotica as a genre, the sex is the story, but the story still exists.
That's right.
And so they're using sex to explore themes. But that's still a story. And as you say, that's what you're getting off on. And like truly excellent erotica takes you on a psychological reevaluation of everything that you knew. And the person who comes to mind for me is C.D. Reese, I think, who just writes these, what I call intellectual erotica. Not that other erotica isn't, and she would probably cringe if she heard me say this, but I feel like every single one of her books is this.
Well, give me a rec. I want a rec after
this.
Marriage
Games.
Is Marriage Games your favorite? Songs of Submission is still always my favorite.
Well, I can understand
But Marriage Games is the second.
C.D. Reese writes erotica and BDSM from an authentic place. It can make you feel very uncomfortable in a way that inauthentic BDSM does not, because it's going to challenge your preconceived notions about consent and about what pleasure is all about, and also about how you live your life, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, what is control, really? And is it important? Okay, and now I digress. Sorry, I could talk.
No, I this is like a fascinating topic, because I do feel like there's like all this shame, especially that women have about, I mean, I was talking to Laura too about like how these different genres of romance that are sort of emerging now, especially post 2020. I just finished like a dark romance. I finished it. And it was really hard for me to get through because I never read anything like that. It is different, like how things have shifted too since 2020. Not to get away from this book, because I just think it's so interesting too. Like when you talk about like erotica or BDSM, and like even how different authors present it, like C.D. Rice, and then talking about like different genres that you thought was a genre or a trope, and now has become something else or morphed into something else with this younger reader.
But I think it's great. I would be so sad if romance as a genre didn't evolve, if we didn't continue to move forward. And like the best thing, the most valuable thing for romance right now are these quote unquote baby authors who are coming up and redefining the genre and creating a welcoming, safe space for them to tell their stories.
And to allow women to feel like okay about things, or like I said to another author too once, you know, do you feel like people are discovering new kinks because they read your book and like recognizing?
Yes.
I think so too. And I feel like they're like okay with themselves, or okay with their body, or okay with like, I'm not a bad person, or there's something is not wrong with me if I think these things is being written in a book.
Well, not just that, but the fact that it's encouraging women to have a conversation about it. Just the conversation.
Yes. Conversations. And you know, we're coming from, a lot of the change is progress.
I think so too.
We've talked about this before, but the books that come out of my generation, because you can't control whatever things in your culture and in your environment were influences you when you went through puberty, and those are the things that attracted you and turned you into. But whatever things are happening culturally are very big imprints on you. So when I grew up in a very misogynistic time period, there was a lot of toxic workplaces. Women had to be bullheaded to like beat up with men. So those are the things that like really
we're attracted to in books, maybe,
attracted to and what turn me on. But a lot of bullies bully men. If a man is mean to you, he likes it. But
He likes you.
he likes you. They're learning better than that. They've learned that doesn't mean that a guy likes you. And so now those are not the things that younger people, I find, are attracted to in their books. They want the older men who is a daddy. They want the daddy who will take care of them rather than the bully daddy. And I think that's progress.
The age gap is like such a popular theme right now too. You have these female main characters that are like, one was a calculus teacher.
Yes. Yeah.
And which I didn't even make it to calculus in math class because I'm not smart like that. But what were you doing before you were writing romance?
Oh, before I was writing romance, I was the chief operating officer of a pediatric epidemiology center with focus on rare diseases and type 1 diabetes. And my background's in epidemiology and biostatistics.
So something totally simple and not complicated.
It's not. It's all about, I have to censor myself from saying something. Anyway.
No censorship
You better
in here.
believe that during the pandemic, our author group threw out, Penny, explain. Can you please tell us what's going on?
Well, my two friends
Calling Dr. Penny.
My two friends who were left at the CDC at the time were a great resource for us.
Are you a physician as well?
No,
We just called her
No.
doctor.
She's
no.
obviously
Right,
well
I know.
versed in this language.
Well,
of
epidemiology,
medicine, right?
the
Yes.
study of disease. And so, so that's what I did in the past. And so I guess this might be a good segue, which is that I wrote my first book on a bet. I had a friend who was a biochemist who I worked with, and I'd always written mostly like science fiction and fantasy fanfics. It wasn't ever romance. And so my friend, who was a voracious romance novel reader, and this is back in 2010, 2011, she was complaining that she had the hard time at the time where she could find a heroine who reminded her of herself. Women in STEM, perhaps. Well, I bet you, I'd always wanted to go to this restaurant in Tampa called Burns. I never was able to afford it. It's so good! I said that if I wrote this book for her about a character who reminded her of herself, would she take me out to dinner? And she said yes. So I wrote the book. It was called Neanderthal Seeks Human. She read it. She loved it. She's like, oh my gosh, this is me. She wanted her book club to read it, and I had saved it on my computer because the bet was done. She took me out to dinner. I had the steak and the lobster and champagne and wine. I was like, yeah.
You went all out, as you should
7 months
have.
of writing a book. But I thought I was finished, and it was just a fun project. And she said, hey, my book club wants to read it. Could you put your book on Amazon for free in KDP so they could grab it, and then we can discuss it in our book club? And I did. And then I gave the kids a bath. And then a couple days later,
Because that's what you do. Yep.
I wanted to take it down after 7 or 8 people had downloaded it because that was how many people were in our book club, and 8,000 people had downloaded it, and I was horrified. I was like,
Mini Jean story right there.
who the heck are you
Yeah.
people? And I was going to remove it, and my husband was like, wait a minute. Maybe keep it up. So
That's an amazing story. I love stories like that.
So the basis of my books and of the main female characters and the characters that I write are characters that remind me of my friends. And all of my main female characters and male characters are based on real people or a combination of people. And something I always do before I hit publish on a book is make sure it passes the Bechdel test. Do you know what the Bechdel test is?
I don't.
The Bechdel test is to make sure that in a book or a movie or any kind of entertainment media, 2 women are having a conversation, 2 or more women are having a conversation that doesn't involve a conversation about a man. Male characters are allowed to have all sorts of conversations in books. Female characters just seem to not be able to have conversations in books unless they're about the main male character. Now, a male and a female can have an unrelated conversation. Men and men can have unrelated conversations, but women talking to women only ever talk about men. Well, and again, no shade on books that don't do it, but it's important to me because when I do meet with my friends and I do talk about things that we talk about, we're not talking about men. We're talking about things that are interesting to us.
Or in your lives,
Right,
right?
or romance novels, as an example, or the Nigerian oil crisis, or whatever it
Or
is.
a great restaurant in Tampa.
A great restaurant in Tampa. Those are the things we're talking about. And I really, truly do feel like books should represent reality, even in the romance genre. And that's why Grin and Bearded, Truth or Beard, the Winston brothers, there's a lot of reality in those books.
I love that. Well, that's awesome. We're going to play a game
Oh, yeah.
related to the Winston brothers and the whole Beard series.
Woo-woo.
We have this game called Swoon and Score. And this one is called Shave It or Save It, okay?
Oh, it's a beard.
It's a beard game. It's a beard game. And so I'm gonna lift something up and we're gonna see if she wants to shave it or save it. Okay, all right, let me get a good one. Ready for beard number 1?
Beard number 1, let's see
Okay,
it.
beard number 1. Bald with beard.
It's giving like Hermit Lex Luthor vibes. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like, no.
I think no too.
Save it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a knee-jerk reaction, right?
It's a fun game.
Ah, okay.
Okay, all right. Goatee.
That's a goatee? Oh, I get it, because it doesn't
it's a
come
mouth.
up.
Right.
It's just
the
the mouth.
around. Right.
You know, I don't like long.
What was his
I'm
major
just
in
Chin
college?
pubes. It's chin pubes.
I'm going to say shave it.
Yeah, I like him.
See you later, goatee. Oh, I got it. This really speaks to the younger generation. You ready? Hipster beard.
No, hard pass.
Hard pass.
Yeah.
Those hipsters.
It's like somebody makes his own cheese.
Oh, I have a good one. Dumbledore beard. Oh,
Yes, hard yes.
hard yes. It's a Harry Potter reference.
Yeah, and then, no, it's not that.
That looks
or
more Lord of
not.
the Rings to me, but yes,
Yes.
Lord of the yes.
And then you can braid it. I mean, who doesn't want a beard that you braid?
That's another
I mean, that's like a
Austin type of thing.
wise mentor. He's
He's wise. He's got a lot of smart things to say.
Well, and
Yeah.
also think of the testosterone that was required to build that beard.
Okay,
Like
so we like a
legit.
Dumbledore. We like a
true.
Dumbledore.
Dumbledore
I'm
beard.
happy with that. Soul patch.
No, no.
That soul patch. I think I like this one. I think I kind of like this one. Lumberjack beard.
Yes,
Oh, yes.
100 P, right?
Lumberjack,
100%.
especially
I'm
for
over
Penny.
it.
That's
Especially-
all her books.
Yeah.
All my books are. Well, most of them.
Braided.
Yes. No, not like that. No, it needs to be more like a Norse braid. You know what I'm talking about? Like there needs to be
There's like a single one hanging
Celtic
down.
knots and, maybe even some beads on the end that you can.
You're definitely going back
Maybe
to
it was
some
just
historical
possible to do it
moment,
with a
like it's
mask,
very
yeah.
Celtic, or like maybe in Scotland, in Scotland. I got to say it like that. Whenever I talk to people with an accent, I have to use it. Okay. Yes, no? Did I say no? I threw it.
Not like that.
It's a no. What about just a simple little mustache?
Oh, I have a
We
story.
are saying no to the stash. I can grow a thicker one than my husband.
So my daughter has a friend whose father had literally this mustache, but he had to shave it. However, before he shaved it, it was like
Bushy.
he gave status updates about it. It was like something that he took a lot of time with. It was his hobby, was his mustache. Well, he had to shave
weird.
it. So it turns out he saved it.
The hair?
Saved it?
He say
And saved it and put it in a box in the bathroom. And they found the mustache.
why did he
And
save it?
I
That's
gotta put this in a
creepy.
book. You know what I mean?
That's
It's
so weird.
because you can't make this shit up. You know what I mean?
No.
Anyway.
It reminds me of that episode of Sex and the City when she's like, there's something wrong with him. And he had like saved all his toenail clippings or something. And it was in the closet. Is that episode? Do you guys remember that? I like this one. I like this guy. Ready?
Let's see.
5 o'clock shadow.
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
5 o'clock.
100%.
It's
That's-
always it's always a plus. It's always a plus. It's always a hot billionaire usually too. This is a weird one. Okay, ready?
Okay.
Pointy beard.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pointy.
Yeah. And it goes up
Do
to
we
the...
use beard oil?
I don't love it when it goes all the way up to the ears, but
Oh, okay.
But the lumberjack does.
I know, but yeah, I
It's
like
maybe it's the
lumberjack.
style. Mutton chops.
Well,
Could it be motorcycling?
Wolverine has some
I was
good-
gonna
Yes, and
say-
Wolverine's hot.
Yes.
Nobody.
But
Hugh
he might be the
Jackman
only
is like
one-
my hall
but
pass.
He might be the only mutton chops that I like.
Well, I'm trying to think. If we were playing a game of like Mary Kill, that would be the.
Yeah.
That would
So
be.
that would be a yes if it's a
I mean, I'm gonna
you
say
it.
short-term rental. So
So we'll leave it on the table.
Yeah.
leave it on the table. Don't get it
It's
too
a
close to
maybe.
me. Yeah.
Just looking at it cut out like that, it's not sexy.
Although would
But
it look good
on
on me?
Wolverine, it is. I like that reference.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay. This one is called, and I have no idea why, the Van Dyke. Because I don't remember Dick Van Dyke having anything like
It's
that.
called the Van Dyke. I have heard of that.
So when it happens like this, it just requires so much maintenance. And I know how long it takes me to do
So
my
he's
hair.
bougie.
I feel like he's bougie.
He's a little too bougie for me. That's not what we're attracted to. We're the bougie ones. Boxed beard.
Yeah.
I do like a box beard.
Yeah. That's a standard, I feel like.
Yeah,
It's a standard
very
fair
standard.
beards.
100%.
The chin strap.
No. No, because I do feel like
a helmet.
the chin without the end of the chin is like a whole, it's like a bud on your face.
So yeah, it is. That's so exactly what it is. It's
like-
so weird that there's like just that little. It's like I don't know
It
what's
makes
happening.
me think of like,
So there's a bottom lip, there's an empty space, and then there's beard.
I know, and it just feels like that empty space is
Era
so
in time.
weird.
it's like seeing an ass with a hairy like bottom,
Yeah.
like legs fringed
that's not
by.
the part that should be bare, right?
I feel like I didn't even know there were this many beard types until we started doing this research on
Yes.
this on
Thank
all
you
the
for
beards.
doing the research for me.
Yes,
I
there's so
appreciate
many
it.
different kinds of facial hairstyles.
Indeed, indeed.
We like to say, what made your heart beat especially fast this week?
Does it have to be like?
Does it have to be
Monday.
romance?
It's Monday. What counts as
I was
like the
thinking
last?
about-
Okay, how about over the weekend?
Yeah.
You go first.
Well, Penny came into town, and I just got to see Monica Murphy and spend
Oh,
the evening
I
with
love
Monica, and that was fabulous.
I got to think about it. My oldest child just graduated from college. Or no, high school. My oldest graduated from high school.
Speak
Congrats.
words today.
I can't speak words today.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
As the young people do.
And so he got an award at the award ceremony, and then for the actual graduation, they then hand out a couple of awards. And I'm just kind of like zoning out, thinking to myself, well, he already got an award, which was lovely, and we were so grateful at the award ceremony. So I'm listening to the description of the kids. They don't tell you whether or not your kid's going to get an award at the graduation itself. And so we're just sitting there listening, and they start saying things that sound like him. And I'm like, oh, it's interesting. I wonder if my son is friends with this kid. And my youngest, who's 9, goes, start filming. I start filming, and it turns out it was him. And it was like this amazing moment in front of his peers. This award was for kindness.
Which is the award you really want your kid
Yes.
to win.
And so this,
100%.
6'2" rower got the award for kindness. And I was like, oh, I feel like crying. So
it's like a perfect kid.
No, he's not. He's a little asshole sometimes, but he is exceptionally kind. And we have this rule in our house that you treat your family better than you would a stranger. If you would say please and thank you to a stranger, you say please and thank you to your family. And he's taken that to also all his acquaintances and friends.
I love that.
I like implementing that in my household
Yeah,
with my
it's also
22-year-old.
I always told my kids when they were little too, I was like, what's the most important thing in life? To be nice. And they'll repeat that over and over, to be nice. Like, I'm like, I don't care if you're mediocre. Honestly, I don't. If they're mediocre at everything, as long as they're just nice people. I think if they feel good about themselves, it'll reflect in everything else. And being kind to everybody will help them to also feel good, because you do feel good when you're nice to people. Yeah, so we were at the HEA Reader event over the weekend, which was really fun. I'm always looking for like interesting characters, and we love interviewing obviously authors, and we're elevating the space and readers. And there was a reader who was there, and she was a sex therapist who purposely went and got her PhD using romance novels for her clients.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I loved this interview, and it went way longer than it probably should have, because I just did not want to stop listening to what she had to say and how she was using these books as a segue for clients that are struggling in their marriages and relationships, and helping them, and and just like coming to these events as a reader and like learning more about these different kinks and tropes so that she can use them with her clients. And I thought that was fucking awesome.
That is awesome.
That is amazing. I love it.
That was what made my heart beat over the weekend. Well, thank you. Thank you guys so much for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
So cute in here.
And we're here talking to Penny Reid about
About Grin and Bearded.
Grin and Bearded.
Second book in the Winston Brothers series. It releases June 10th at the re-release, and the book itself has maps and family trees and inline illustrations of the characters.
Ooh, I love that.
And so the print book, it has sprayed edges, blue sprayed edges. It's a gorgeous version of the book. And so if you're a fan of the series, it's kind of like a collector's item. And if you've never read it before.
And where can everybody get it?
You've never heard
read
of
it.
And if you have never heard of it before too, I'm also going to plug the audiobook, because Joy Nash and Chris Brinkley are just magical narrators.
I love a
And
good
I know that
Audible.
that's not
I'm gonna listen
re-releasing.
to it.
It's been out for a long time, but if you're just finding out about Penny Reid now.
Yeah, and she's
audiobook's
from Texas, but what she studied in college, anyway, her accents are on point. Then Chris Brinkley is from Tennessee. So if you're looking for an authentic Tennessee accent.
Like a voice.
Yeah,
I am.
rather
I'm
than-
always looking for that. And when I'm listening, and I just started doing Audible, so maybe I'm going to do this series in Audible.
They're magic.
So you can get it everywhere. You can get it,
Amazon.
Well,
in
you
your
can get it on
website, preferably her website.
No. It's not on. I'm not actually allowed to sell it on my website because it's a re-release through a publisher. So you can get it at Target. You can get it at independent bookstores like Flutter. You
Please
can get
go
it
to
at
independent bookstores.
Half Price Books, Barnes and Noble. You can get it in airports. You should be able if you're
Are you
traveling.
on KU?
Yeah, the Winston Brothers is presently in KU, but it'll be coming out in about 2 months. So yes, it's in KU as well if you're looking for an ebook. But the print book is everywhere books are sold.
Yay! Oh, well, I want to have the physical copy. I'm kind of bummed you didn't bring it in, but you know
my
I'm going to go
God.
get it. When it releases tomorrow, I'll be at the store on Thursday.
Yes.
So I will be picking it up then.
It was so. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.